think it is more likely it came from someone on the left, but that Scarborough's point may be a fair one. Joining me now is Richard Painter, University of Minnesota Law School professor. He previously served as associate counsel to the president in the George W. Bush White House counsel's office, and Rachel Barkow, vice dean and professor at NYU Law School. She also clerked for former Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Thank you both very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Painter, let me start with you. What power does the marshal actually have? I mean, does she even have a team of cyber experts, et cetera, who can go about investigating this?
Well, I believe that she can accomplish a lot with the staff that she has, and that we don't need to get the Justice Department involved at this point. First, she can ask everyone, clerks, justices, other staff of the court, if they know anything about the leak, and she can get those answers in writing. Anyone who makes a false statement to the marshal of the court in the course of this investigation would commit a criminal offense under the false statement statute, 18 United States Code 1001. So whether or not this is criminal is irrelevant. If you ask somebody if they know something and they lie, they commit a felony right then and there. And that's, by the way Robert Mueller nailed a lot of people who were talking to the Russians. Not that talking to the Russians was illegal, but lying about talking to the Russians is a crime. So I think she can handle this through written questionnaires signed by every single person in that courthouse, and we don't need to get the Justice Department all mixed up in this.
It's a very good point. Rachel Barkow, thoughts on whether a law may have been broken, putting aside making false statements?
I mean, probably not. I think that it's not a leak of classified information. So if it was going to be a violation of a law, it would be probably something if there was something like a hacking, if the information was obtained that way, because we don't know, right? The assumption has been it's someone who deliberately leaked it, but it's also possible the information kind of accidentally came out or somebody tampered with the Supreme Court information system to get it. But, you know, barring that, it wouldn't be a crime, although it could certainly be a fireable offense.
Talk to me about how it might have come out accidentally.
Well, you can imagine that law clerks, staff, justices work on these opinions, and maybe they work on them in the building, but they also want to take them home. Maybe they do some research or some editing, so they bring copies with them in a bag. Maybe they are careless with a laptop and the way that they access information. So you never know whether or not there's a way that it could be inadvertently obtained by someone else that way. And then, there's more nefarious scenarios where maybe someone is able to get into the Supreme Court's computing system somehow, whether it's when the court releases other documents, there's some kind of a glitch. That would be the kind of investigation that I think the marshal would be particularly ill-equipped to do. It's a protective force largely. So this is an investigation. And if it involved anything that had to do with some kind of computer interference hacking, I don't think the marshal would be in a great position to get to the bottom of it.
And as a former clerk, just remind people how shocking this is.
Yeah, no, this is, off the Richter scale in terms of an earthquake at the court. Confidentiality is absolutely critical. When I was a law clerk, it was around the time of a book that was released by a former clerk that had revealed some internal processes. And at that time, and that was pretty modest compared to this, the release of an actual pending opinion, and just releasing some internal information about the way the court had operated. When that person was there, set off alarm bells. The Chief Justice called a meeting, talked to all the law clerks. We were told by Justice Scalia when we started that would 100% be a breach of our obligations. And we're told in no uncertain terms there would be serious consequences. So the confidentiality of the court has been really critical. But, there have been some leaks in the last couple of years.
Yep. There have, but not like this. And Mr. Painter, where would you start this investigation if you were advising them?
Well, as I said, I would get answers in writing from every person in that building, setting forth what they know about the leak with very detailed questions, and then have everybody sign it. I don't think that anyone who leaked would take the risk of committing a felony and violating the false statement statute. I think they'd rather either fess up or walk off the job, in which case it might be harder to interview them. So that's the first step. If there's computer hacking, we can bring in computer experts, and that could be handled that way. I have no idea who did this. It makes absolutely no sense. I have to say, if a liberal clerk did it, it's really a stupid liberal clerk, because what this is doing, I mean, really what it does is it creates the image that 5 justices support the Alito opinion. The Alito opinion goes far beyond what this court needs to do to uphold the Mississippi statute. I can't imagine how Chief Justice Roberts, Justice Kavanaugh, some of the swing justices would sign on to an opinion like that, at least before this leak. So I don't know what's going on and whether someone's trying to pin them down on that Alito opinion and get everyone behind it. This is a disaster, this leak. It's making it very difficult to deliver and for people to change their mind. And that's what's critically important about the court.
I made the same point last night, that if a liberal clerk did it, they're a total idiot. But we shall see. Rachel Barkow and Richard Painter, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.